Hello, and welcome back to episode 7 of The Ripper, the Teller and The Gremlin. So, we'd just like to quickly start off this week and mention something that happened last week. So, last week we had our first ever guest on. Woo!
Woo! The critic, Matt.
Yeah, honestly, it was a really fun episode. I can't talk for the others, but I loved having him on.
Yeah, it was great.
It was something different, and
Definitely.
I'd recommend going back and having a listen. But there is one thing we have to acknowledge from last week, and that is our Marvel quiz at the end. The critic may have actually got a few things wrong.
Yeah. Well, we're very shocked, to say the least, because the critic is, he is the critic.
He's
that's
the
how
most
we know
critical
him.
person of anyone.
And
everyone.
you should have seen like how much preparation went into his part on that show. On that episode, he had planned everything, and he was doing research and all that sort of thing. So for Chris to come forward and tell us afterwards that he looked into it and not one, but two questions.
It was because to me, I was like, I swear Iron Man came first, and the other one was in the back of my mind. I was like, I swear I remember reading an article about how the comics changed Nick Fury to look like Sam Jackson. But anyway, so the two questions were, his first one was, he said, what was the first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And he said it was The Incredible Hulk. But that actually came out in June of 2008, whereas Iron Man came out in May. So Iron Man was out first. I kind of get what he means, because I think he meant what was the first in the cinematic universe. Because you could count Iron Man as a standalone.
Yeah.
And Incredible Hulk as like the first expanding the universe. But the end credits scene for Iron Man does have Nick Fury, and he's kind of hinting at other dudes out there. So we'll just have to write that one off. So Bradley, you didn't win the quiz.
I was just predicting what he wanted.
Yeah.
And then the second question that we struggled with was, he said which movie had changed a comic character to look more like the movie interpretation. Well, that's not quite right, because the Ultimate Marvel comic universe changed Nick Fury to look like Sam Jackson in 2001. That's 7 years before he even portrayed the character in the movies.
So basically, although this is just a light little roast here, Matt, when you listen to this, it was all fun and games and we really enjoyed your episode. But if you come on next time, make sure your questions are right. But no, seriously, we hope this has done any serious Marvel fans out there the justice that they deserve.
Yeah, no, it's just because in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to just point out to people, I noticed a few things. And like you say, and bizarrely, they talk about how that them changing him to look like Sam Jackson is what inspired them to cast Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Right. And it could be argued they never changed the mainstream Nick Fury to like Sam Jackson until after the movies. So it did affect the main continuity, but it's debatable, because obviously Ultimate Comics changed him to look like Sam Jackson years before Marvel and Samuel Jackson ever had a relationship, right?
Yeah.
But there's actually, I'd say, these two questions, you could have a bit of a debate on if they're right or wrong, but we're going to say they're wrong, and Bradley, you lose. You lose the quiz.
I won in that episode.
In Matt's quiz. You won Matt's quiz.
Yeah, Matt's quiz.
Yeah. So to summarise, Iron Man came out first and was the foundation for the universe. And in 2001, they changed Nick Fury to look like Sam Jackson. So there's your correction, guys. That's out of the way. It's done.
Moving on to this week's episode.
Yeah, on to this week. So I'll just go straight into the news, shall I?
Go for it.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about was taking a nice romantic getaway with your girlfriend. To the Atari Hotel.
Ooh. I was looking at Chris's other news segments, thinking, what, he wants us to go to Baldur's Gate?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so confused.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend going there. We'll get to there, but I wanted to open with this.
Okay, so I don't know anything about this, so I'm really interested about this.
It's they're going to build the first one this year, apparently. I believe it's in the States.
Right.
And it is basically, and it's really cool. It's sort of this really interesting architecture where it kind of looks like a old school Atari console, right? But in a building. That's cool. They've explained that it will be like a normal hotel, but the whole selling point is there'll be a games room. And in the games room, the emphasis is on virtual reality, on virtual gaming.
Okay.
So you'll be able to go into this gaming room and enter this awesome games room that has all these different virtual reality, and they said augmented reality,
Wow.
which I'm not quite sure what that actually is different from
So,
virtual reality.
so basically, when you look at VR stuff, you're kind of put into that world.
Yeah.
Whereas augmented reality is bringing like virtual things into our world. So it'd be like looking at a desk. And I've seen that Microsoft did stuff, and they wanted to bring like Minecraft to AR, so you could like build things in Minecraft alongside real things. Does that make sense?
That's
So
weird. That's
it's
awesome.
it's the opposite way of thinking. So
You're
VR
going
is like
into
going
VR,
into it,
augmented is
and
bringing it
AR
to
is
you.
bringing. Yeah, exactly. So just
Wow.
kind of like it's a bit. AR is like Pokemon Go. So
Yes.
seeing
Yeah,
Pokemon in like the real world, that's like an
really augmented reality
basic
thing.
version.
Yeah, and
Wow.
obviously like AR is something that could be amazing if like it was done on a bigger scale.
Bigger scale.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, this news story just made me go, Deanne, I'm booking us this really romantic hotel away trip, and then we'll get
gonna
there.
love it.
She'll be like, "Oh, I can't wait! It's back, like amazing restaurants." And then I'll be like, "Oh, I've got to show you the surprise, the extra special thing about this hotel. We've got to take her down to the games room, and I will run away like a little kid, and she'll just like face drop."
Yeah.
Maybe leave me. Maybe something.
That's brilliant, though. I mean, I'll go with you if you want. Instead. We should just make
we'll
it.
take our girlfriends. We'll all take our girlfriends.
Yeah.
Except for Bradley's girlfriend will probably be a good sport.
Yeah.
She play along.
She's a gamer, so yeah, she'll join in.
Yeah, cool is to an extent, to be fair.
Colt and Dean can just go off and
do some shopping,
yeah.
do some girl stuff. No, that is wicked. I didn't know anything about this. The one thing I would say is I'm a bit concerned. The only thing that crosses mind to me is pricing. I mean, this cannot be a cheap stay, can it?
No.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you're paying probably a premium for the games room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll have to wait to see what they do. And like I say, this is in, I believe, the States. So who knows if we'll ever get one in the UK.
No, but I might just travel to the States for it.
Yeah, have a nice holiday of it.
They'll be like, what have you planned while we're out here? We've got loads of activities planned, sightseeing. Well, not really, just this one room, really. We're going to spend 2 weeks.
Just staying here for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Be like the Oasis from Ready Player One, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's very Ready Player One, actually.
Like we'll just stay in there like the whole time.
But
come out supporting a full beard.
But yeah, it's something that's definitely exciting, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But moving on to the second piece of news I wanted to talk about is actually we got more trailers on Baldur's Gate 3. We got a gameplay trailer and a cinematic trailer, and I'm so excited. Like, did you see either of the trailers, you two?
I watched the cinematic one. The opening cinematic one, the 3-minute one, or whatever it was. I watched that. I texted you afterwards, and you didn't reply to me actually, but I texted you saying this is really rude. I texted you and I said, "Looks wicked, but I have no idea what is going on. Like I literally don't even understand it, but it looks awesome."
Same.
I mean,
it is.
You know, it's set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe.
Yeah.
So weirdly enough, if you've ever watched Stranger Things, the monsters in Stranger Things are inspired by the monsters from Dungeons and Dragons.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've watched Stranger Things, you'll probably have a sort of a handle on what some of these monsters in the game will probably end up being like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and there was these very cool bits with the sort of ice slugs and this sort of Cthulhu sort of horror body snatcher sort of thing going on, and then they're kind of Witcher-esque where they jump out of hell, out of this parallel dimension, and then you have the dragon riders going after them and stuff.
Yeah,
I was just like, whoa,
it does look really cool. Like I say, I just have no idea what is going on, but either way, I thought the trailer was very compelling.
Yeah. And talking about quickly just the actual gameplay, it is kind of like Dragon Age meets a more traditional top-down RPG.
Okay.
So it kind of plays like a more traditional top-down RPG, but you can zoom in and out, and you can, like, it's like a hybrid.
Okay.
In a lot of frames, it looks like Dragon Age, and the cutscenes are 100% like they could have been ripped from like Dragon Age Inquisition, like when they're talking to characters and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like how it's kind of this attempt at modernizing the series, but also keeping that sort of fun 90s retro RPG gameplay.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just it did. I think it got delayed as well.
Is it going to be like an all console and all platform release? Or
Yeah,
is it...
it's all release, but
Right.
it's a game I'm super excited for. It's a bit of me all over.
It sounds like it's a bit of you, and it sounds a lot like a bit of Bradley as well, to be fair. I mean, not so much me, but to be fair, it doesn't mean I wouldn't check it out just from what I've seen. But yeah, it's definitely up your street.
I mean, the funniest thing for this is Baldur's Gate 3, but the first two Baldur's Gates games were made by BioWare.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's what inspired BioWare to make Dragon Age. Dragon Age is completely inspired by their work on the first two Baldur's Gates.
That's cool.
Which is so funny where now this has reinvented itself and taken aspects from Dragon Age.
Yeah.
When Dragon Age was based on this to begin with. So it's like, get your head around that a little bit. Sort of. But yeah, it's a fun fantasy setting, and it's one that at some point I'll probably do a review for.
Yeah, well, we'll stay tuned. Watch this space.
So the last bit of news I wanted to talk about today is we actually got confirmation that we sort of spoke about this a lot back and forth, that WB Gaming's division is officially not for sale.
Yes.
And that's crazy because we spoke about Microsoft, the rumor about Microsoft being interested. I think we mentioned EA also throwing their hat into the ring at one point. But yeah, Warner Media have, it looks like that maybe there was some sort of change behind the scenes and that maybe the old branch wanted to get rid of it because they didn't know what to do with it. And then obviously I've had changes and these new guys have been like, whoa, no, this should be a big cornerstone of our brand going forward. And they've confirmed that, they're WB's pumping a lot into their gaming division.
Right.
And, I think it showed how good their gaming division is because Microsoft stepped forward, Sony inquired, EA inquired, Activision, Epic. Like, these are very talented development studios. And I think they almost thought about putting it up for sale, but then they saw the response and the overwhelming want that people wanted these, I think it's fair to say, high pedigree studios. Like, Mortal Kombat, the Batman games, the Middle-earth games. Like,
they're all like high AAA games. So it's not like they don't, sell well. Mortal Kombat 11 sold extremely well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think there could be an element of, wait, everybody wants this. Oh wait, we are really
shouldn't
good.
give it away. Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. Because apparently there's a thing in business where you pretend something's up to sale, so then you can figure out how much it's worth.
Right.
So some people are wondering, was this a stunt by people, by WB, to figure out
where they stand
with their gaming world? And if anything, everyone wanted this. This was almost a bloodbath of interest, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's official. It's not for sale. And, I think that's for the best. I'm generally one of these people who likes it because we spoke about if Microsoft get it, they'd get exclusivity. But I think it's nice to know that
if
any games coming forward,
microtransactions,
you can get it on any console.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Which is good in my books. But that's sort of all I'd say on that. I didn't know if Bradley wanted to go into your news.
Yep, I'll happily go into mine. So we've been talking about the fights in the corporations right now.
I think it's the
last
week running, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is the third week running. And last week we talked
segment recurring.
Corporate
We're just gonna make it up. We're gonna fanfic this stuff.
So last week we talked about Epic and its fight with the mobile platforms, taking on mainly Apple, but also Google as a low key thing. They were more interested with Apple, and the current news topic is the selling of iPhones with the Fortnite game installed on them. iPhones are being listed on eBay mainly for upwards of $10,000.
That's insane.
Yeah, and obviously that doesn't necessarily mean that the $10,000 ones are selling, but some of the higher prices ones that are selling, and this harkens back to things like Flappy Bird, which I'm sure a lot of listeners will remember the insane like 94K phone that sold or something ridiculous like that. There was a ridiculous amount of money being made off of phones with Flappy Birds on them. But yeah, this is happening again, and these insane prices are to play Fortnite, a free game on, in my opinion, the worst platform you could play it on. and yeah, it's just insane that it's happening all over again, especially when this is an ongoing thing, and it's I mean, I don't think it's unlikely that Fortnite will never go back. I think it is likely that it will
be back
on the store.
Like latest, like after all their court stuff boils out, like 2 years time,
it'll be back.
It will probably be back there.
Exactly. Whereas obviously last time it was Flappy Bird, and that has never come back. So it kind of a tiny bit makes more sense, but it's still these prices for these phones that are used. And the other thing is you'd be tied into playing it on that account, on that Apple account.
Oh my god!
So you wouldn't even be able to log into yours because the game would be tied to that account. But yeah, so just insane prices for iPhones with Fortnite on them is happening.
Would you not be able to log out of your Epic account though and log into?
I'm not sure. I've just read online because I've never played on my phone, but I've just seen that some people have said that they can't. Or maybe you can then.
And to be fair, I don't know. I've just thought usually you can log out of your Epic account. You might be able to log in, but I don't know if it is tied to your Apple one. But I know that when I
I think it might be tied to you. So you could play on your Fortnite account, but I think what it's saying is that you wouldn't then be able to use the Apple store for yourself.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because obviously you'd be on someone else. Because you wouldn't really want to go and put your like bank details on someone else's Apple account that they also have the password.
I mean, I bet there's going to be a lot of fraudulence
from this.
Definitely.
So this was my theory, and the reason I say this is that I have an iPhone sitting next to me, which is now out of contract, and it is in still pristine condition. There's not a scratch on it, and I was going to give it to CEX because they took Zach. A friend of ours, they took his phone for about 260 quid, and his was in slightly worse condition than mine. It's the same phone, and we got it around the same time. So I was going to give mine in. Then I saw this thing, and I'm like, I have Fortnite on my phone, and I'm like, do I look at doing this? Because I saw phones were going up for 5,000 and more, and actually selling as well. So I was like, this is crazy. Like,
you're an awful
maybe I'll
person,
do it.
Jack.
No, but then I thought about it, and I was like, the only thing I can't see about it is maybe there is ways around it, but I wouldn't want to give my phone to anyone without resetting it completely. And if you reset it completely, you lose the apps. And even if you can go into your app store and go downloads, but that's going to be on my Apple ID. So technically I'm giving someone my phone with my personal information on it still, just for them to have Fortnite. And okay, granted, I could remove the cards from it and give them, and they could pay a ridiculous price for it. But that still makes me feel a bit uncomfortable that I'm not resetting someone the phone before giving it to somebody else. Giving it to a stranger of all things,
It's just people have tried to come up with this quick money scheme, but like you say, people are already pointing out these massive flaws. Like with any quick money scheme, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Well, if anyone wants an iPhone X with Fortnite, hit me up.
Email the pod.
Yeah.
rtd@gmail.com.
No advertising, but no guy. But there's not much to say about it, but it's Flappy Birds all over again, isn't it?
Well, Epic have also they've actually been they've started up a new hashtag Free Fortnite Cup.
Yeah.
And
this is hilarious.
Yeah, one of the prizes which a lot of people will be able to just snag, but because you earn points through doing things in games, and a lot of them will come from like wins. But obviously you can get them if you don't win and stuff like that. Points. But one prize that pretty much everyone will be able to snag is the corporate Apple skin for in game. If you did watch the 1984 trailer, the Apple, the big old Apple in the suit that's telling everyone to.
I wonder if this is going to cause them any legal problems, though, because the argument could be made that they're like slandering you.
Yeah,
quite bad.
It is very close to that. I don't know whether they'll be able to get around it, but it is close to it. I just think it's hilarious, though.
Oh,
I think the amount they're willing to put on the line, as well as taking these jokes for it.
This is the thing as
Yeah,
well. Is
they've
that
embraced the memes.
That's the thing. They've embraced the memes, and I love that.
I mean, they're
because-
not doing it for the good of us. They're doing it for themselves.
But this is what I
But-
love is that they're taking that approach on it. That like they're embracing the memes, and like, you know, there's not a lot of companies out there that would go against Apple, but not only go against them, but actually make a joke trailer about the whole thing, and then come up with their own hashtag, come up with their own skin for the game just to mock them. It just shows. I don't know if it's confidence or arrogance or both. But
it's probably knowing
think it's
Epic
both.
is arrogance.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
mainly arrogance, but you know, it's keeping us entertained at the least, isn't
exactly,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that piece of our little segment of corporate beef is done for the week, and I want to move on
I
to
like
a quick
that
piece.
corporate beef.
Segment of the week. But yeah, so my next piece of news is a short piece. It's about the Demon Souls remake. Now, I mean, I am a massive Souls-like fan, so I'm always going to want to talk about Souls-like games. But a rumor has suggested that it could be a PS5 launch title, and that is something that Sony are going to be so happy with, like going forward, especially now that Microsoft are getting delays on their exclusives. But it's also something like quite sad overall is seeing that Demon Souls won't be making it to any other platform, because Sony have announced they're not supporting PS4 exclusives anymore in terms of going forward and releasing on the PS4. So it's something quite, you know, good for Sony, but I also think Sony might be getting a bit big boots with the many exclusives.
Well, getting a bit power crazy.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just launch with Demon Souls remake.
You can just
why not?
see them in the corner giving the finger to Microsoft.
Yeah,
can't you?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Halo gets delayed, and they're like, oh.
Another one.
So yeah, it's just a little piece in there. I just wondered if you had any thoughts about just any of that. Just, you know,
yeah, I mean, the one I don't really about Demon Souls, to be fair, but the one thing really is pretty much what you were just saying is that they're going a bit crazy, aren't they, with the exclusivity and you know, how much further can they push this? You know, they're like,
how many exclusives can they get?
I mean, quickly sort of changing the topic a little bit. So Demon Souls, is this the remake of the original Souls?
Yes. So it's the Souls that everybody forgot. It's
yeah. I mean, I didn't even know it was a thing.
So basically, everybody counts the series as starting with Dark Souls.
I
a lot
thought
of
it
the
did.
reason, because Dark Souls is the first in that series. So it goes Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3. So there is a series of Dark Souls games. But the original Souls-like is Demon Souls, which is crazy that there's either the load of people that are like, oh yeah, Demon Souls is the original, and then there's the load of people like either what is Demon Souls, or no, that doesn't count. And it was an exclusive then, and it's an exclusive now so far from what we've heard. There'll be no other ports from what we've heard so far, which is so sad, and they could make so much money off of a PC port. But because that's where the majority of the Souls fan base is on PC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's such a huge thing in that community, and I don't know, it just, especially because of, I mean, PS5 should be completely different, but I remember on console Dark Souls 3 launched at 30 FPS.
Oh my god!
And for a game that's Souls-like and relies on like input timing and like perfect dodging and things like that and parrying, it, like when I moved to PC and I got Dark Souls 3 again, it was such a different experience to play it in that full 60 FPS. It was just so much better. And I think
didn't cry as much.
I never cry. I always win these games.
I remember buying Dark Souls 2, thinking,
right. Dark Souls 2 is awful.
This is an awesome. I just remember buying it and thinking, can't wait to play this, because I thought it was another RPG in the vein of Dragon Age.
Yeah.
No, you were wrong.
You were wrong.
I was so upset because I think I had a part-time
It's okay,
job. I was still in school. I'd saved up for this thing, and I just remember. I think I defeated the first level boss, and then I and I just didn't touch it from that point on. I hated it.
You got unlucky as well, because 2 is bad.
Is it the worst?
It's just bad. Like there's a split community. There's the people that are like Dark Souls 2 is great. It's a must. And then there's basically all the other games, including Bloodborne and pretty sure Sekiro, were made by Hidetaka Miyazaki. He was the creative director, and people love that. They love his work. They love his like genius, and he never worked on 2. So, and a lot of people say,
is felt.
yeah, and honestly, like I feel it, and like I'm in the no, this is awful, and that's the only Souls game that I will like. I just avoid. I play it every now and then, but honestly, I'd love to get you guys to play.
Well, do you reckon I should? Because I hated 2 with a burning passion. Do you think maybe I should give the Soul series another chance?
I would love to do it as a golden oldie.
Oh wait, which one? The first Dark Souls? Or?
Yeah, I would. Dark Souls 1 still holds up for me, and I play it all the time.
Okay, yeah, we'll put that on the list.
Jack's
looking at me now.
I just want you two to experience the Souls like formula.
So basically, this sounds really strange, but as long as I can remember, if I was to sit with us 3 here, and I was to point at each one of you and split top of my head, associate you with one gaming franchise, before this even started, I would have said Dark Souls is Bradley's game, because he's a maniac. He likes the torture of games, and he
likes to rip and tear.
Yeah, and I literally, Dark Souls, I always just, when I think of that game, the first person that comes to mind is him, because I just think, I bet he loves those games.
I do. I absolutely do.
Them. I've never touched any of them, purely because I don't think I could deal with the frustration. But then with you, like for example, the second I think the first thing that comes to mind is Halo. I'm literally like, Chris is a Halo. It's a
I knew it was between Halo or Mass Effect.
I was going to say Mass Effect, Halo or Mass Effect. But yeah, like, I mean, if you want to put it in the golden oldie list, by all means.
Eventually, I want you two to go.
You're going to say we're going to talk about it. They're going to be like, so Jack, what did you think of it? And I'll be like, well, I'm still on the first level.
You're just going to be hitting your head on the table all episode.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean.
So yeah, we'll backlog that one and see if I can ever persuade them to finally give it a go.
Give it a go. Well,
I knew you'd be willing, Chris. I knew I'd have trouble with Jack.
Jack's still like awkwardly looking away.
Just looking in a different direction as if you're not going to talk to
him. From one Souls like though to another, a new game has actually been announced, and it was a game that I don't know how I found it, but I just randomly found it because I'm not someone who browses the internet that much, but I managed to find this. And I instantly was impressed, and I was like, oh my God, I want to talk about this. So it's a new game called Black Myth Wukong, and it's being developed by a Chinese game studio called Game Science. And I wouldn't be surprised if you've never heard of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if you were surprised when I said Chinese, because this is actually looking to be China's first AAA game.
Oh, wow.
Which I, again, because I started looking into this, I did not know that there's never been a real AAA game from China, which is insane when you think about like how many people live in China and like how dense the population is.
They've got insane. A lot of awkward. Usually, I think they're jumping on to realizing how much money's in the video game industry.
Oh,
now.
Definitely, because they're very stringent about games
rules,
and and
which
about
I think
especially online games.
Yeah,
they're really funny about that. So it's really cool to see that China could be starting to bring like something different to the video game market, especially seeing this game. So as I said, it is a Souls-like, but it just looks incredible. Like graphically, the physics, everything about it just looks super impressive. The animation, and a lot of people are saying that like this is what next gen is capable of, and it's amazing. But the other really cool thing that I liked was the developers like had no intention of kind of showing this off, because I also found this out. They basically they released the trailer because they wanted to attract more employees. So they wanted to kind of use it as like we're kind of working on this. Yeah. Like it looks pretty good if you ask me. Do you want to come and join in? And they were actually like really surprised by because it got a huge surge in popularity, especially because of the Souls-like sort of fan base. Yeah, and just because of the comparison to everybody who was who are into Souls-like kind of jumped on it and was like, this looks amazing. It looks like next gen Sekiro is how it's been dubbed, but with like a completely different vibe with the whole Wukong thing. And the other cool thing was the developers were actually really humble about it, and they said that they're surprised with the surge of popularity, and they don't want to let it go to their heads.
Yeah,
And
which is
they've actually said they want people to forget what it looks like because they don't think it represents their full capabilities, which I think is insane.
Yeah,
To have all this popularity, to be that
and
humble, to be
about
like,
it, yeah.
please just let us care. And then they said, unfortunately, we're going to go like back into hiding and work on this, and it's going to be like years away. And everybody was like, oh no. But I mean, I'm happy to wait a few years for this. It looks amazing. And like one thing I kept saying when I was talking about it was that he fights a boss in it, and it's a furry boss, like it has fur. And I kept saying that's next gen fur.
Yeah,
If you go and watch the trailer, it looks furry.
It does,
which is
like real fur,
weird to say. But it looks like it has
Bradley
the
furry
texture of,
confirmed.
no, it's not that. It's literally just it has the texture of fur, which if you go and look at games that do hair's literally like one of the hardest
things to get right.
to do, and it just does not look right. It just looks like weird strands.
Yeah,
of
you
something.
notice that on character creation engines all
Definitely.
the time. Every time I make a main character, it's like you have to go for long hair and a beard, otherwise it just looks awful.
Yeah. Whereas this looked like insanely good. I just kept saying, and then it caught fire, and I was so impressed with the fur. That was it.
No, it does. It does. I watched the same. I don't know if we watched the same thing, but that definitely, the thing I watched definitely had the boss fight in it as well. But yeah, it does. Even to me, it actually appealed. It doesn't look. I'm sure it is, but it didn't look quite as intense as Dark Souls and things like that. But I thought it looked incredible for the next gen.
I was surprisingly interested.
So we can just hope that they do live up to the new expectations they've unwillingly set for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's years off, isn't it? So I reckon it will be one of those things that people forget about.
Yeah.
And then the trailer for it will pop out and everyone will go,
yeah, I'll be waiting.
Bradley is never going to forget about this.
He's going
to be going, the fur.
The
next gen fur.
Just looking at pictures from the trailer, zoomed in at the fur.
Yeah. I mean, you're adding more fire to this furry.
I'm not just furry. I just like good graphics, graphical fidelity. Anyway, that is all for my pieces of news. So I believe Jack has some.
Yeah, I do. And do you know what? I'm just going to say before I start this, I've noticed there's a running theme with our news pieces each week. So obviously we're always in a slightly different order. But have you noticed how the common theme for the news pieces each week is that, Chris, you always come out with usually some surprise news that we don't know about. And it's always usually like very factual, very fan based, very, like very in depth, things like that. Bradley's news pieces are always like the really intellectual, like corporate stuff.
And, yes. Yeah. To talk about today's problems in the gaming society.
Yeah. And mine are always just like the running a mill gaming stuff. Like,
just like, this is cool. I like
this. Yeah, so it's this game. Cod got a new update.
Yeah. But that's it though. And I noticed, and I quite like it because it shows the difference in like what we pick for news.
Yeah.
And it also gives us a wide variety. So speaking of typical gaming, the first thing I'm actually going to talk about is COD. So we finally got a teaser trailer for COD Cold War. You must have all seen that, surely, Bradley. Even surely you've seen it. Please tell me you've seen it.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it all the way through. I was kind of like, looks pretty good. I was like, I just want to see a reveal at this point. I just want give me some gameplay.
The reveal's tonight, isn't it?
Either tonight or tomorrow.
26th?
It's 26th, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, so I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're gonna. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. So yeah, we're getting the reveal tomorrow, which will be cool to follow.
Yeah,
up.
so I'll watch that up tomorrow. So technically, you'll get it today.
Yeah, so it's a shame it's a bit behind, but yeah, the trailer. So they really focused on like real world history in that trailer, especially like everything was real footage, wasn't it? It was all it was very, very heavily. Did you not think it like had like a really compelling message the whole way through,
so
like about the know your history or be doomed to repeat it? That was crazy.
And for me, who's a history buff, and I did in my sixth form course, I actually did the Cold War.
Okay.
Like that was something I
studied. So for you,
and for me, it was this is the most interested I've been in a Call of Duty game for years.
Yeah,
I have
remember you saying.
not been bothered with COD, but just this reel of historical events, and it built up such a suspense and such an excitement, such this like covert shooter spy
espionage
thriller.
Yeah.
And I was like, I almost feel like this is the aspect of the Cold War that the older Black Ops games failed to capture.
Yeah. And do you know what? Like, I agree. I watched that trailer, and it's the first time for me as well in years that Call of Duty's actually made me excited to watch the reveal, like the full reveal. Like, I'm now really looking forward to seeing the reveal, to see how the game looks, how the game, what changes they've made. I mean, I'm sure the core essentials are going to be similar, and I'm sure they're not going to drastically change it, but I really like the route they're taking, and I'm really hoping that they're going to really, the fact that they're using real footage and things like that, I'm hoping that it's going to be, take that real gritty experience again that like World at War did, and like we talked about before, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. Bradley, what about you?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't watch the full teaser. I'm not a massive fan of teasers.
Too much game eating time.
It is nice. It's just like I don't know, I like to just see the thing. Do I like the look of the thing? Done. Like, teasers are kind of like, unless it's a game that I'm like super pumped for, but it's COD, so I can't really say I've been super pumped for a COD since I was like 12.
I'm kind of hoping though that, no, exactly, but this is the thing. I'm kind of hoping that this COD might. I'm not.
Oh
of
yeah,
course,
I'm
we're not
always
expecting
hopeful.
miracles for what's going to be changed, but I am hoping that this does take some really unique, time, and also it's the first time in years that. From what I remember, that they've left it this late to unveil a COD. Because obviously November is usually the release, isn't it? So October, November time. So this is late in the year for them to just announce it, let alone a world premiere, like a reveal.
I mean, I'm different to you, Jack, in that you've said you can't wait for the gameplay, you can't wait for, but I'm kind of in this mindset that I don't really care about the gameplay.
Yeah,
it's just it's going to be COD. It's going to be whatever.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
To me, I'm just hooked on that premise. That teaser brought me so into the story that I'm probably just going to buy this
just for the story,
right?
Just for the story,
which is quite funny where we're completely differently. I got sold completely just on that premise.
Yeah,
and you're waiting for the game.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong though. I don't mean like multiplayer, because like, for me, it's more about story than it is multiplayer. Even though Call of Duty is nowadays heavily focused on it, but I just mean like so you're really into like the story that it's going to follow, whereas me, I just want to see how the game looks on, if it, what graphical improvements it's made to gameplay, what they've decided to add in, because obviously it's got to implement some new elements, although it's going to stay the same core mechanic. But yeah, I know we'll wait till, well, by the time this goes up, the reveal should be out, so we'll
we'll probably talk about the trailer next week.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, you were speaking in yours, Bradley, your pieces of news. You talked about Microsoft getting the finger subtly from Sony about their exclusives.
Not about my words, but yes.
No, but it was Chris's words. But the delays. But this actually has, I don't know about you both, but this has really, really made me sad. So an exclusive releasing for PS5 has actually just been delayed, which was Deathloop. And I don't know if you've even seen anything on it, but I was so excited about this game, and I actually kind of just wanted a PS5 for this game. And so the fact that it's been delayed and apparently till the second quarter of 2021, it's kind of gutting for me, because I know obviously delays are good unless they're Cyberpunk.
And especially at the minute, a lot of these delays they're saying is an effect of coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think a lot of them, even if, they're kind of just, hey, look, we had this thing that happened and it's happened across the gaming industry.
Yeah.
And almost, so many developers are coming out now and saying, hey, this is delayed.
Yeah, this is going to be delayed. So obviously there's not much about to say that you can say about it other than the fact it's been delayed, which is very sad for me. But do you guys know anything about it? Like,
isn't it by the Dishonored developers?
Dishonored, yeah, it is.
I love the Dishonored games.
It looks, and if you watch the trailers or anything, it actually looks a lot like Dishonored in the sense of the art style and stuff.
I remember watching the reveal trailer, and I said instantly, I went, Dishonored? And then I went, no, not Dishonored.
That's what I did as well, yeah. But you know what? I think the whole premise is just awesome.
Definitely.
So like Chris, the way you wrote it down here is spot on anyway, but it's a Groundhog Day shooter, right? So it's a group of assassins, aren't they? And it's basically that your character dies. Well, he's like a one-shot death, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he dies over and over and over again until he gets it right. And basically, I haven't watched the trailer recently, and I wished I had now before this, but from my memory of the trailer, from when I first watched the reveal, they're basically saying just try again, basically, until you get it right.
This sounds like something that I'll enjoy.
And it sounds really fun from the idea that it's kind of almost, because we always have respawning and life and death mechanics in games, right? But it sounds almost as if like they've taken this mechanic that's in everything, starting at checkpoints, whatever,
respawning,
and they've given it literally a full-blown purpose and mechanic. So it's not like a boring back to your checkpoint.
It's
like
watch the loading tip screen
back
and then
to the start. Kill him now. Sort it out.
Yeah.
Don't make this mistake.
Don't make
again.
it. You learned from the last time.
Yeah, it sounds like it's so much more intense than just because what it's kind of like you die and then you reload and you're like, okay, fine, whatever. But it's not going to be that sort of sigh. Oh, here we go again.
Actually, quite fun.
Yeah. Because it's the whole purpose.
Yeah, and
right?
also you improvise, adapt, overcome, right? So you die, you go back, and straight away it's like, right now I know that guy's going to come from there. So how do I do it differently this time? Or I know this guy, and then it's the next bit. You're like, oh, didn't expect that. And then I'm back at the start again. And I just, the fact that they're turning that into a full mechanic and it's having its own, pretty much the main purpose of the storyline is that this is how he lives, is that he dies over and over again. I just think that's awesome. And I like the fact that from the very smaller part of gameplay we've seen, it does look, although obviously it's more gun focused and that, it does look like Dishonored, the way that the movement and the art style.
Same engine.
It's very Dishonored-esque. And I'm just really excited. And to be honest, delay is probably a good thing. But I will definitely be getting this game when it comes out because I will review it because I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, like I said, I love the Dishonored franchise.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing developers, but I've only even played Dishonored 1.
Oh, have you really?
And I never played the DLCs or Dishonored 2. And it's one of those things that, when there's always a game and you're like, oh, I've got to get that. I've got to buy it.
I mean to buy it, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wait for sale, and I'll pick it up. And I just forget about it.
Have you've played 1 and 2, right, Bradley?
Yes.
Yeah. So did you prefer 2 or did you prefer the original?
I think I preferred 2 overall, but I don't know. I don't think they built that much going from 1 to 2.
Yeah, so I would say honestly, Chris, you need to get it just for the sake of obviously because you've always wanted to play it. But it is good, and obviously they did it was an upgrade slightly. But I would say that I was more invested in 1 than I was in 2, just purely because, well, number one, it was the original, but it just, I feel like I played 2 and I remember playing 2, but I don't remember enjoying it as much as I did the first one.
Who did you play as in 2?
What's his name? Is it Corvo?
Corvo.
You just played as Corvo again. See, that's what I did like. I did like playing
you get the
someone
choice,
different.
Yeah.
I mean, my only real memory that sticks out for me from Dishonored is playing it through, murdering everyone, absolutely messing up and cocking up the ending and having like the worst ending.
Yeah.
And then also getting that message of, oh, the rats and infestation and disease like killed everyone.
Yeah, because you kept killing people.
And I was like, and then the second playthrough, I was like, I'm going to kill as little people as possible.
Yeah, and it was cool. I liked the way that the world.
It made me feel awful for killing all those people as well. It's
yeah,
like doomed humanity.
But that's again, I like the way those games are built with the the way that the way you play the game influences its outcome. And yeah, I really enjoyed Dishonored, and I'm liking the fact that this is the same studio, obviously, just because I feel like that it brings a lot of promise in itself. But yeah, moving on from Deathloop, hopefully we will hear some more on it soon. We're going to talk about my favorite game at the current moment in time.
Just favorite.
And it's just getting better and better. And I've actually done a review for this game, and it'll probably be next week's episode. But Ghost of Tsushima Legends. So Ghost of Tsushima has been it's just been blowing the internet up and it's been fantastic, and I can't wait to talk all about it. But more importantly, the news this week. So there was a lot of demand for people saying that, although the game was great, it doesn't have what a lot of people obviously go for games for, which is any version of co-op or online. And Sucker Punch just came out with like a trailer, just like it just dropped, and it was like, here's Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and it's a 4-player co-op, and it's set in on the same island as the main storyline, but they've kind of taken a completely different approach to it. So you don't play as Jin, you play as 4 different samurai legends, basically. Well, they're not all samurai, but they're different legends, all with their own.
See if I could remember: samurai, hunter,
Ronin.
Assassin, and Ronin.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. And
how did I remember that?
I know. And they've all got obviously their own style, their own sort of. I'm guessing they'll have their own skills, like own skill tree.
I hope the Ronin has a Keanu Reeves skin.
But yeah, so basically, it seems to lean into the supernatural, which is really cool. So the trailer's got a lot of like mythical color to it, and like there's a lot of like fiery embers, and the villains that you see, like the bad guys, they look like very demon like, and
it's like, weirdly enough, like I just mentioned Keanu Reeves, but it is very 47 Ronin.
47 Ronin, yeah.
It's very leaning more into the mythology of Japan than the base game.
Than the base game, yeah. And I really like that. And so they've said you can play it between 2 and 4 players. There's if there's story like co-op missions, they say that basically the way it works is that the more you play through it, the further you get, the harder the game gets. And there's also, I've heard as well, there's also like there's going to be like a horde mode basically, which is just literally they put you in a certain area and they just face you off against wave and wave just to see how long you can survive basically. So it's going to come with more than just, here's some co-op missions and that's it.
I mean, this is next level fan service from Sucker Punch.
Oh yeah, and it's extraordinary. And the fact
this is
that
free as well, right?
Yeah, it's a free update, so it's going to anyone who's got the game, and it's coming out towards the end of the year, isn't it? It's soon,
I believe they said they want it out by the end of the year. I don't think they gave a solid release date.
No, there was no date in the trailer or anything. But yeah, so it's just, I mean, like Chris says, that's great service anyway. But they're already smashing it with the main game. And to be fair, they really didn't need to release this.
No.
Like, I didn't expect it. I never thought a solo story focused game would just drop something like this out of the blue. And to be honest, while I've been playing it, I've never once thought this game should have co-op, to be honest. But I get why people would think that. But
people want co-op for every.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah. It's just another option, isn't it? But
and I think in a lot of ways,
that's my experience. If I love a game, I always want co-op for it.
They've handled it perfectly though, because they've kept it so that the single player is still its own thing.
Yeah,
it's
and it's
still
not,
the main focus. But hey, look, here's an extra mode that is completely separate, but has the gameplay, but gives you more.
And it's free.
Exactly that.
It just blows my mind.
It's such a big.
You have developers who absolutely muller and butcher their games, and I mean, even they were talking about. I think Last of Us 2 have been talking about them putting a multiplayer mode out.
Yeah,
but
and it's even faster than that.
It's even faster than that.
Yeah, and
and I think a multiplayer mode would have been good for Last of Us 2 because of how divisive it was. Whereas with this, you've just got a game and a gaming developer that just keeps hitting hit after hit after hit, right?
And also just on top of that, even more so, going the extra mile with that, obviously this has released close to the end of the PlayStation 4's time, and Sony have stated that this will be immediately playable on PlayStation 5 with faster loading times, better graphics, and all the benefits of what the next gen console is going to offer as well. So that's even greater to know, because obviously a game this good, which obviously we will go on about in my review, but a game this good would have been a bit of a shame if it had come now and the new console is just going to overshadow it, because this game I feel like deserves the sales to just keep rolling in. It really does. And to be honest, I think the last thing I want to say about it, which Chris actually wrote here a note basically saying just a massive hats off to the developer, because they've done fantastic from launch, and they're breaking, they broke a couple of records for the initial release, like for the first couple of days and things like that. And this game, although it had a lot of advertisement and a lot of hype built around it, I think it's exceeded it massively.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and like you say, a game as big as The Last of Us 2, for them to have trumped that,
beat them out the gate with the multiplayer.
Exactly. It's just
from a fact that they said they had no plans for this mode either.
No,
it was just
by demand.
So many people had said it that they just went, all right then, we'll make it.
Yeah.
And it's probably off the back of how much they sold and how successful it was.
So they've had the chance to do
but
that.
Still,
but it's still
they
incredible
didn't
service.
have to do this for free.
No,
It's
they could have been.
insane.
Oh God, no.
And to be
There's so many other developers that would have charged for this.
Exactly. And to be fair, I think this game deserves Game of the Year.
If it doesn't win, I will.
It's a fix.
It's insane to me.
But who, like, if I know you don't have it, and obviously that's why I can't wait to talk about
I've
it,
only
but
played it, but from what I've played and from all the reviews I've watched, everything I've read, everything I've seen of it, I can tell how good this game is.
All round. Yeah. And do you know what? I just can't wait. If we ever all did have it or anything or whatever, I need some friends to have it with, because I can't wait to bring that combat into a multiplayer game. But I think that's just awesome.
I mean, I don't own the only thing I don't own is a PlayStation. But this is the type of game I would buy for a PlayStation just to play.
Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, so we will talk more about that. But yeah, I mean, hats off to them. Sucker Punch, you've been incredible for this. And yeah, they just continue to succeed. Well deserved. Moving on to this week's review segment, we are doing something a little bit different. We're not doing individual reviews. We obviously, a bit like our Xbox Showcase episode, we're going to be talking about the DC Fandome, which has an astonishing list of things announced, shown, displayed.
Marvel, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So we're just going to basically talk about a couple of the trailers for both movies and games, and just kind of go through our sort of general and overall thoughts on each. Obviously,
they're going to be a sort of brief, just quick. Did you watch it? What are your thoughts? Thing.
Okay, so
not too in depth.
So, Chris, do you want to start with the movie ones? You can just start listening through, and we'll talk about them.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, I'm going to start with Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. So, just before we talk about the trailer, I'll just get it out of the way quick that it's been revealed. This is going to be released in 1 hour segments, 4 episodes a piece. Yeah. So 4 hours in total, 4 1 hour episodes. And that's on HBO Max. Anywhere there's not HBO Max, they're going to do a digital release.
Brilliant.
Zack Snyder said that because he's like, don't worry, if you're international, there'll be some form of release that you can watch.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I loved this. I thought this was. There's a lot of people saying that this still looks like the same film.
No, I disagree.
I was going to say I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I'm so surprised.
Because there's a lot of people saying that.
Really?
And I think it does look like the same film, but tonally and visually, it's so much more distinct.
Yeah.
And, like you can reel off why you guys disagree if you want.
So I didn't watch strangely enough, I didn't watch the trailer when it was first shown, and I didn't watch it. I scrolled past it a couple of times actually, and I didn't watch it. And then I went past a channel on YouTube, which I believe is called Shot by Shot or something like that. It's something like that. They basically do basically in what it says, but doesn't something like that.
Who was it? Was it a woman?
No, it was a guy who went through it. But either way, basically, he just went through the trailer and like the key points of the trailer and compared them to the similar clips / what scene was like in the other version of the film, and basically just talked about the differences. And yeah, okay, granted, obviously bits and pieces were still, similar and may have looked like the original film, but I just thought so much of it looked so different, and I can't even go into why and what. But I just thought it looked like a whole new film, and obviously not the whole thing is probably.
To me, it looks like the moody masterpiece I wanted the original Justice League to be.
Yeah.
This dark sort of, and just quickly, should we talk about the song choice? Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
So initially, I went Shrek.
Yeah.
And then when that left my mind, I thought, oh, okay, this has got to be a nod at Hallelujah, we got his cut, right?
We got the one you wanted.
And that's what I thought it was. And I remember Dan said to me, my brother, he went, is this the trailer? And I went, yeah. And he went, why is that? And he went, because it's got a really weird song over the top of it. And he hated it. He really disliked it.
Right.
And I thought, it's quite funny. It's quite tongue-in-cheek. Hallelujah, we got it. But he didn't choose this song because Hallelujah, we got the cut. This was, I don't know if you remember, but he left the project before because his daughter died. And this was her favourite song.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So Hallelujah was his daughter's favourite song, and that's why I put it on the trailer.
Wow.
It's like a
Oh,
tribute. And
yeah.
when I read that, I was like, oh, like
Wow. I mean,
it completely changed the work
the tone
perception.
as well. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that at all, actually, but that's incredible. Yeah. I mean, wow. I don't actually know what to say about that, to be fair.
No, but
Yeah.
like I say, do you want to just we'll move on to the next one, but do you want to just quickly say what your thoughts are of Justice League after this trailer?
I'm more excited. That's my overall. I'm more excited because I wasn't really, regardless of the cut being made, I wasn't really bothered either way. I was like, yeah, it will or will be, the same, but don't really care. But after seeing that trailer, I now do feel like I need to watch it just to at least compare it to the other one and see what is better and what's not, or if anything is not. But so I'm more excited now anyway.
Bradley?
Yeah, I just think it looks so different overall. I think I just kept every frame. I was like, that's so different. And there's just so many more. Yeah, definitely. And there's just so much more. Already, we can see more focus on the rest of the Justice League. Yeah, we see so much more of the Flash than I think we see in the whole film.
Cyborg as well,
and Cyborg, and like because I was really interested in Ezra Miller's Flash, and the fact that we got that film and we literally had barely any screen time for him, I was so disappointed. And I was like, in this trailer, we could already see more like character development from each of the members than we did in that whole film. So I was like, this definitely looks like something that could be really good. But so we'll just wait.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm really excited for it as well. And the last thing I'll say on it is, I don't know if you remember, did you see the shot of the destroyed Justice League headquarters and the wasteland?
Yeah.
And he's talked about how, do you remember in Batman v Superman, the really weird nightmare sequence?
Yeah, the sequence,
where Batman's got two guns, he's in a desert.
Yeah, apparently there's going to be a scene.
There's going to be continuation of that from Batman v Superman.
Good.
And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, because that was so
just
random. It felt like it was just left out of the blue.
Yeah, because there was obviously stuff he'd shot that was meant to be in the next two movies that followed on, right? Instead of just completely throwing it in the trash, which Josh Whedon, when he came in and was just like, nope, gonna make this like Avengers, which is just a terrible idea. But moving on to our next trailer is we got the Batman trailer.
Yes, we did.
And what did you think?
Oh boy, Robert Pattinson. I wasn't excited about this at all at the film prior. And I'll admit it, I was very skeptical of Robert Pattinson's being cast.
I want to say I was always a fan of that.
Yeah, I know
you were on board, Mr. Positive.
Yeah, Mr. Positive about everything. No, right. So I watched this trailer and I was left with shivers, and I mean shivers.
It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. The for me, dark, gritty. He looks like a moody Bruce Wayne, not like a playboy Bruce Wayne, and I just love.
There was part of me though where I was like, you kind of need to be a bit more playboy. Yeah. I hope he is in the movie.
I'm guessing he will.
It kind of, if he's dour and you're kind of like, the whole thing where they're like, oh, Bruce Wayne's Batman. Everyone's gonna be like, that kid sitting there sulking in the corner.
Yeah, that's Batman. But yeah, no. Do you know what? I thought it looked fantastic, and there was one. That's all I'm going to say after this. One part of that trailer that got me so excited, and I watched it about 4 times. I just kept rewinding 10 seconds back, and it was that scene where that guy, the group of thugs go up to him, and he says, "Who the hell are you supposed to be?"
Him.
And he beats. It's he snaps his arm.
It's so brutal.
It's brutal, and not only brutal, it's so Arkham-esque. Like it's fast paced. It's like
and he goes for like different points on him, like rather than just like smacking him in the same place.
Yeah,
and he takes him down.
And then when he hits the floor, you hear him like smashing his head on the floor.
And I know it's its own parallel universe to the Justice League movies. But when I watched that sequence, I was like, oh, it's a shame because I'm kind of like, I'd believe this is a young Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
I'm sold on that. You could be the young Batman from Batman v Superman. Because they're both so brutal, and that was my biggest fear for this movie was them taking a back step back. Because I think Batman. I love the
Dark
Christian Bale
Batman,
movies, but the hand-to-hand stuff was never very good.
No, it wasn't.
No. The best bit in those movies for me was when he was training with Ra's al Ghul with a sword.
Yeah.
That was the best hand-to-hand stuff. but it looks like it's almost combining elements of mystery and detective story that Nolan did so well, but also fusing this brutal comic booky sort of Batman bruiser, right?
Yeah, and I just love that. That was literally, the whole trailer was great. But that 5-second segment or whatever it was of just him beating that guy up was enough for me to go, if the action is like that throughout the film, my God, I'm sold. Like, it just looks incredible. And you know what? I take it back. I'd like to see how he does play Bruce Wayne the whole way through. I hope he isn't as moody the whole way through, but he actually looks quite good in the role as well, I thought, as Bruce.
So I am, this is the most excited I think I've ever been for a Batman movie.
Really?
And the premise alone, because the director talked about it being, have you ever watched the movie Seven? With Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman?
I love that film.
That was his biggest inspiration. He said this movie is Batman meets Seven.
You can kind of see that
Batman
now.
going on this.
Detective
There's
quest.
heavy emphasis on him being a detective.
Yeah.
They want to do to the Riddler what the Nolan movies did for Joker. They want him. They want him to be terrifying. They want him to be this serious villain you take.
A sick individual. Yeah.
And for me, just watching that, I'm not sold on Pattinson yet. I think I have to watch the movie, but the premise
is enough
and
to get you excited.
We talked about the cut, and one thing I'd mentioned, I wasn't a big fan of the race bending of Commissioner Gordon, but that sold me.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
right. Yeah,
I really like. I forget that actor's name, but he's in Westworld.
He's in quite a lot.
He's in loads of stuff. But that trailer, I was like, yeah, no, okay, Black Gordon, I'm on board.
It was. Do you know what? It was the. Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really looking forward to it, and I really like that as well. Now that you've said that about the Seven, I didn't know that, but comparing it to Seven, I can see it 100%. Even the way the trailer finishes with the date with the question marks on it, it's very puzzly and the Riddler. And do you know what? I'm excited.
And I think it's an aspect of Batman that the movies haven't delved into enough.
The detective
that
side.
He is clever. He is this, and I like that they've decided to do this angle, but also do it with the young, inexperienced rookie Batman who's not been doing it long, who's not there yet.
Yeah.
And I think, as much as I said I'm not sure about Pattinson, I think he's a great choice for a Batman who's not found his
young, inexperienced Batman. Yeah.
Despite being able to beat people up very handily.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah. Despite breaking people's limbs and throwing them about. But I'm excited. Anything else before we move on to the next trailer? Bradley, anything from you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Chris, what's next?
So next we have Wonder Woman 84, which was actually I believe it's actually already meant to come out, but COVID and stuff, this and Black Widow have just sort of disappeared. But we got a trailer for it, and I love this. I watched the trailer, and I love the first Wonder Woman, but I was watching this and I was like, this just looks amazing.
Yeah, Bradley?
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. It did feel very similar to the first one.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'll
going to lie.
give you that.
It did feel very, like, structurally familiar. It didn't feel like they strayed. I mean, obviously this is just a trailer, but it didn't feel like they strayed too far from what the first film did.
Don't stray the path.
Exactly. The first film did really well, and I really liked the first film, and this film doesn't really show.
I get what you're saying. I don't think it's going to be revolutionary.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to, but I think despite that, it's going to be a good fun ride.
Good fun ride.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm just going to throw my hands up right now and say I haven't seen Wonder Woman, and
you haven't seen the first one?
No, I haven't. No,
Oh, really?
Which is really.
It's actually a really good World War One.
Yeah, not because I didn't want to see it or anything. I just haven't ever got around to it. But I have, albeit, seen the trailer for this one, and again, even I can see from the trailer from the first one and the trailer from this one, I can see the similarities. But yeah, I agree with Chris though. I think it's still going to be a great film. Like, it looks like a good, a great experience to watch.
And I mean, the villain is Pedro Pascal, who is Jack's little Mandalorian man crush. He's the guy behind the helmet in Mandalorian. The man behind the mask. Even in the trailer, his scenes, I was like, oh, I'm really interested. Because it's him and Christian Wiig. Christian Wiig, I think it is. She plays Cheetah, and he plays like kind of like a sorcerer type dude. And I think they're doing them as a he's the smart villain, she's the physical
The
villain.
physical one.
But I really like both those actor choices. And Pedro Pascal, he's just so charismatic.
He is.
And his scenes where he's
Yeah.
like, "You can have anything,"
Yeah.
and he's in the White House,
Sold.
and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board for this."
Wherever he wants, I'll send him it. Yeah, no, I know. I kind of agree. Yeah, yeah, I don't have anything else to say about
Yeah,
that.
like I say, I'm just looking forward to it. I think if it ever does come out, we should go see it, and we
Yeah,
should
we
review
should.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then we'll have to force Jack to watch the first one before we go.
I mean, I should probably do
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
first.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, onto the last. We've got two more, but onto another bit. We had a small teaser, and I don't know if you guys watched this, for James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Did you see this, Bradley?
Yes, I actually did.
it was
I saw
like a
this.
trailer.
Yeah.
It was a
like
behind the scenes
yeah.
teaser reel.
Yeah, I thought it was a trailer, so I kind of like clicked on it because I knew we were doing all this, so I was trying to watch them all. So I clicked on it, but then I realized it was like a behind the scenes thing.
I
But-
found it more exciting.
Yeah,
I quite liked it.
That's
it
what
was
I was going to
different.
say.
It wasn't
Especially
just a
with all
trailer.
the actors kind of commenting
on the film.
which I'm hoping they weren't kind of put on the spot, told you better.
Yeah, it
you
feels
better
quite
big us up.
genuine.
It does.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
John Cena's bit was great.
Yeah.
About there being
Idris Elba talking about being like a graphic novel brought to life.
Yeah.
like-
Mhm.
it just, I think it looks like what Suicide Squad should have been in
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
place, and it looks. He said James Gunn said this will be the biggest movie he's ever made.
yeah,
right?
which
And-
is insane.
yeah, and
It's also a little worrying.
Yeah, it's a
Is
little
it
bit
too
concerning,
big for,
but we were talking about this briefly beforehand. Just the cast list. There's so many big stars in it, and so many really interesting
yeah,
stars.
and I like that they've got a huge amount of returning actors from the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I was actually kind of confused because I didn't really like. Is this following on, or is this a separate thing?
So they haven't actually said.
I was going to say I don't think he has
it-
said.
So they
they
haven't
haven't
cleared up the
confirmed.
confusion.
I don't think so.
But from the sound of things, he said it's a gritty, comedic 1970s war movie.
Mhm.
He said it's like a gritty
Right.
1970s war movie combined with these outlandish,
Wacky
ridiculous
characters, yeah.
comedy, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which sounds awesome. But I don't know what it could be. To be honest, it
doesn't
could be
matter.
a sequel or it could be a reboot.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if it is a reboot, to be honest, I'm glad they kept a lot of the
Some
actors from the
returning
first
actors,
one.
Yeah.
Because I
Definitely.
think a lot of the actors are so well cast in the first one.
I'm also so glad though to see that they've the amount of new ones, like the amount of the
Big
amount
names
of this
as well.
squad, like the size of the Suicide Squad.
A
is
lot
just-
of people are going to die.
yeah, because they
They're
said one
gonna
of
live up to
one
their
of the
name,
actors
aren't they?
said, didn't they though?
Don't
one of
get
them,
too
don't get too
attached.
attached to anyone. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. To see
I
what
think
happens
it'll be
with
a really fun ride, and it'll be really
Definitely.
interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave this an R rating.
it. I think they kind of. Yeah, I think they should.
If it was a Deadpool-esque R
Yeah,
rating,
Yeah, that would be kind of cool as well.
I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so
we'll wait and see.
I haven't got much more to say on that. You guys got any?
No,
anything
no,
else
I
to
think
say on
we're
that?
all in agreement, really.
Yeah, just excited. And the last thing was, it wasn't really a trailer.
No.
It was like
see,
an
I missed this one.
animated
Story
concept
concept.
trailer.
Yeah, it was
It
strange.
kind of felt like they wrote up Black Adam's storyboard
Mhm.
and then just got The Rock in to record a few lines.
Yeah, pretty much.
But did you watch it, Jack?
I did see it. Yeah, I didn't
So-
see it at the same
so-
time as it when it first came out, but I did see it recently.
So
That was
for
down to-
Bradley, they basically had the animated origin of Black Adam from the comics, where
Right.
he's in this magic city, he's a slave, he gets given the powers, and then instead of sort of saving the day, he becomes this anti-hero who kills everyone. And they're like,
Right.
oh, maybe we shouldn't have given this guy the powers. And then he gets imprisoned for 5,000 years, and then he comes back.
Nice short sentence.
Yeah, pretty much. And The Rock sort of talked about how they're leaning into this anti-hero movie, basically, where it's going to be his version of justice against the Justice Society of America. So he's
Right.
going to be going up against the Justice Society of America is like the old school Justice League.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're not the characters from Justice League, but they are DC superheroes who were
Yeah.
like the precursors to the Justice League from like the 60s or whatever.
Mhm.
And he's just talked about how it's going to be this really fun ride, which his brutal brand of, and they did one of the Superman quotes, you know, the really famous quote where he's like, truth, justice, and the American way. but he like he did like a spin on it where it was like his sort of brutal take on that quote, and I quite liked that. That was quite cool.
I don't know if you know this as well. Since then, I don't think it was at the same time because I don't remember seeing it. But since then as well, The Rock has made issued a statement basically calling out all of the other superheroes in the Justice League. Have you seen
really?
it?
No,
he
that's
basically,
cool.
The Rock stood there on camera and he had the Black Adam like set piece in the background, and he just pointed at the camera and he said something about he said Flash, Superman. Like Aquaman, he basically just listed them all and just went something about basically like Black Adam's coming or something like that, or a real hero's coming or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's cool. Like,
And
but that's
fun.
just Dwayne Johnson, isn't it? All over.
Because it's something. I think this is something different, which they're going for. This brutal anti-hero that has no remorse for what he does, and he's almost villainous in that he does evil things, but he's sort of vindicated because he believes it's right. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Which a lot of villains have that as their
Yeah.
So he walks this line between being a villain and being an anti-hero, right? Which I think would be really fun to see in a movie.
Yeah.
Which I think they played around with in Venom, actually, to be fair.
They did, yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see. The only thing I'm worried at, I don't know about you and Jack, Bradley, but I think this is a great opportunity for The Rock to actually kind of like what the Terminator role was to Arnie. It's like a chance for him to do something different to what he usually does.
Yeah, not to just be the action star. Like
to spread his acting chops.
Yeah.
But I'm slightly worried he's just going to rock it up. Or he's just like, I'm The Rock. And it's like, no, you're Black Adam. And he's like, but I'm The Rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
I don't know if he's going to...
I hope he does. I hope he takes it.
He tries something a bit different, right? To his... Because to be honest, my brother actually said something, because we really like the really rubbish Scorpion King movie.
Yeah.
And
I love it too.
It's
the first one. Just the first one.
Just the first one.
God, they get worse somehow.
But it's not a dissimilar origin to Scorpion King, but he's got powers instead. And, you know, to be honest, if he just plays Scorpion King with powers, I'd be quite on board for that, to be honest.
Yeah. Scorpion King with powers.
But that's all I've got to say on that. You got any more thoughts?
No, not really, unless Bradley does. Bradley?
No, I don't really have enough knowledge of it. I just knew The Rock was playing Black Adam.
So we've got literally
last two bits,
and then we're moving on to the Golden Oldie.
It's returning after like
it
4
is.
episodes.
Yeah, we've had a few where we've missed because of other things, but we have got a great Golden Oldie coming up. But we'll just quickly, because there's not too much to say about these last two things. We've gone onto the game side, the game announcement side of the DC Fandome. So we had two announcements. The Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. We'll start off just quickly going over that one. It was a 4 odd minute trailer. What do we think?
I thought it was long.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, oh, come on, get to the point.
So I actually read something today about this. So it said that, which kind of comes onto the next game as well, which obviously we'll talk about in a minute. But this game, Suicide Squad, is actually set in the Arkhamverse.
Except for the one thing that really annoyed me is they've made Deadshot black and he's white in the other Arkham games.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you've said it in the same universe, but you've completely forgot your own mythos.
You've changed.
Yeah.
But so, this is a bit strange actually, because the other game, which we'll come back to in a minute, but the other game announcement was Batman Gotham Knights. But how is that one? It just baffles me a little bit that was announced. Then the Suicide Squad was announced, and it's like Suicide Squad set in the same universe,
but Gotham Knights isn't.
Yeah. We'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, so the Suicide Squad trailer, it was like a cinematic trailer.
It was very Sunset Overdrive.
Yes, that is exactly what I thought.
Spot on.
Well done.
It was a bit long.
I like that.
I thought the trailer was a bit long as well. I kind of wanted to skip through.
And I was thinking, oh, okay, so they've got heavy emphasis on gadgets and guns.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, but King Shark will probably be more traditional, beat 'em up.
Yeah, like Brute.
And then he pulled out a minigun, and I was like, I don't think King Shark's ever had a minigun in his life.
I don't. Well,
In the comic history,
So-
he's
so-
like a Hulk-esque.
Yeah.
sort of,
So my overview of that trailer is that I'm quite excited about it, just because it's a bit different and because I'd quite like to see how they do it. And I was excited to see the 4 characters and see how I thought, how will they play out? Like, how will the gameplay be different for each one? But after seeing that trailer, I kind of now what Chris was just saying, I'm kind of hoping that it's not just going to be a shooter. Like, they're not just all going to have guns and that's it. Like, there's not really any proper good melee combat to it, or like all the characters feel the same, just slightly different sizes or whatever. You know what I mean?
And as much as I'm willing to give this a chance, because I love the developers, Rocksteady, but there was a part of me when they fight Superman, and it's really funny because Boomerang throws the boomerang,
Yeah, it bounces off.
and it bounces off, and then he blames it on King Shark.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, that's really funny.
Yeah, that got me as well.
yeah, it was a bit.
But-
It's one of those things that are so stupid that it just makes you smile.
Yeah, it was good fun. But the problem I did have was obviously they're going to try and kill all the Justice League who are being controlled by Brainiac.
Yeah.
And my biggest problem with that was immediately Superman incinerating that dude.
Yeah.
And then me thinking,
How are
How
they going
in
to fight
the
against
earth
that? Yeah.
are they going to fight Superman?
With
And
guns.
why doesn't he just incinerate all 4 of
While they're
them
standing
in
there.
about 4 seconds without even thinking
Or just
about
fly
it?
through them and like
I mean,
obliterate
yeah.
them.
I think I wrote this in the notes, but like, I don't even believe these 4 Muppets could take down Batman. Like, you're telling me a mind-controlled Batman who's trying to murder you? I think he'd destroy them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree. I do kind of not understand that too much, especially like, I'd be interested to see how that's supposed to play out. But yeah, I just hope it's just not heavily focused on a shooter, but I'm going to give it a go, and I am quite interested to see where they take it.
And they've said this is completely next gen.
Yeah.
So that is exciting within itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then we'll move on obviously to the other announcement, which was of course Gotham Knights. Now, Gotham Knights, I'm just going to get my piece on this out over and done with. I was initially really sad when this got announced because I've been waiting for the next Batman game for so long, and I was watching their Twitter and everything they were hinting at, the Court of Owls, everything. I was getting so excited, and I love that franchise. And then the trailer started, and for anyone who's not seen the trailer starts with a recorded message from Bruce Wayne, and I was like, surely not. Like, before the trailer even got into it, I was like, surely not. You're not going to be Batman. That just can't be. And they were like, oh yeah, by the way, Batman is gone and you are no longer going to play as Batman in this game. And I'm like, you've already kind of destroyed my heart a little bit.
I both hate it and love it at the same
This
time.
is how I feel. I'm so mixed emotions
because I really like the Bat family.
So do I. But this is what I was going to say is like the trailer then goes on to explain that he sends out this decrypted message to the Bat family saying that they need to keep Gotham safe now that he's gone. And, they need to be like rise up and, take Gotham. And that's hence the name Gotham Knights. But it plays as like, it shows you the trailer shows you brief clips of
Glimpses of
gameplay
them all,
from
doesn't it?
each of the heroes. So obviously you get Robin, you get Batgirl, you get Red Hood and Nightwing. Right, and they all look pretty different from each other in gameplay.
I'm playing Red Hood.
Red Hood
Bugsy's,
just looks awesome.
just
Yeah,
Bugsy's.
it just looks awesome.
But if anyone else gets him, okay, I'll play Nightwing.
Yeah, but that's how I look at it as well. To be fair, but like they all look cool in their own regards. And I quite like the idea. But this is why I'm so mixed opinioned on it, because I both love it and hate it, because I'm just like, where's Batman? Like, this is Batman. This game was meant for Batman. Like the Court of Owls thing.
Is it actually called Batman Arkham
No,
Knight?
it's actually, I think it's just called Arkham Knights.
Oh, okay.
It was Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
Gotham.
That's what I meant.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
sorry,
let them
that's what I
off.
meant. But
I thought it was Batman.
no, it's Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
I thought that too, but I looked back and it does say Gotham Knights. But even so, it still makes me sad because it's just starting the trailer with Bruce Wayne and I just.
But there's also the argument that they've done this in a parallel universe, so that they can still go back to Batman
if they want to,
Batman Arkham.
Yeah. Which I hope they do.
Which I think is a good way, because I think killing him off is smart, because they want the focus to be on these 4, right? And I don't think you can do that
If
with
he's
Batman alive.
No, of course you can't, because no one cares. If
No,
Batman's alive,
like,
no one cares about
plays
him.
Batman. And then if you'd done it, Batman as well as another playable character, then everyone would just play Batman.
Yeah. So we don't know too much about the game, but what we do know is that this is going to feature, because I said there's no way you could have 4 characters and you could not have co-op. So this is going to be
Two-player
two-player co-op, right? Drop in, drop out online. I'm guessing split screen probably. Or
Have
something.
you watched
Maybe
the
not.
gameplay for it?
Yeah,
I've
I
seen a
watched the
little bit of
gameplay.
it, but didn't watch the whole thing.
I liked the Arkham elements, but I was slightly worried. It looks very Marvel Avengers.
That is
Big
exactly what I thought.
hitboxes, and I was like, this can't be premeditated because they must have been in development around the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is I think it's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But it is also very weird, and I don't really like it.
No. I'll be interested to see where it goes, and I will play it, and I know I will, and hopefully we'll all play it together at some point, or some of us will, or whatever. But
I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah, it's interesting, but isn't it weird how we both said immediately that we want to play as Red Hood? It just looks awesome. Like
I said that, and then I saw Robin has a short range teleport, and I'm a massive fan of
that was
teleport.
quite cool.
Yeah,
so I was like, now I'm gonna have to play as Robin.
I'm gonna have to
but
play Robin.
It's the worst Robin as well. It's Tim Drake. No one
Yeah, I
likes
know.
Tim Drake.
I was like,
it's not even Damian Wayne, who's got a
he
sword,
can
who's cool.
teleport.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so we'll all check it out. But yeah, in my initial
just the one last thing I want to quickly say on it is, it did worry me slightly when they talked about how bosses will change and bosses will be level zoned.
Oh no!
And in my mind, I had Assassin's Creed Odyssey flashbacks.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm like, I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I
Yeah.
hated not being able to do a story mission
because
I
an
was
area
20 levels too low.
below. Oh, I hope this.
Do not do this to me in this game.
Yeah, that's kind of all of a sudden just dropped my hype a little bit. But no, we'll check it out, and we will come back to that one. But anyway, let's move on to the golden oldie.
That's the end of DC Fandom.
Yeah, so DC Fandome.
Enjoyed it. Good.
Yeah, overall it was great. Okay, so the golden oldie. Who wants to start?
I mean,
I think Bradley should go
Bradley,
in.
I think you should.
Yeah. So we were all deciding, obviously, what our golden oldie. It's been a while as well, but we'd actually decided it a while ago, and
just that other things came up.
And it's such an impressive game that I think we needed a lot of time to do it justice, right?
Yeah. So we were going through what games we could do, and one of my favorite games of all time, top 5, is Bioshock Infinite, and obviously we do older games, and I was like, do I tell them that we should do Bioshock 1 and 2? And then I was like, no, we're gonna go straight to Infinite because it is still 7 years old, so it's still quite old, and it is an experience that can stand on its own. You don't need to. It obviously is quite nice, and you get a little more nods if you've played
the universe, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit, but
you can
personally,
play it standalone. Yeah.
I played Infinite first, and I had no problems with it going straight to top 5 of favorite games of all time. So yeah, so this was like my 4th or 5th time playing through on the 3rd different platform. So I think it's finally time to see what you two think, because I believe you both played it for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what you think.
Time I ever played a Bioshock game.
Same. I played Bioshock 1, but when I say played, I mean like I played it around a mate's house when I was young, and I don't really remember much of it. But so I never really played the game. So yeah, both first time for me and Chris. Obviously you played that 5 times through, or however many times you played it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Chris, do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, sure. So I was generally surprised because immediately I was hooked on the premise. You know me, I'm a story guy. I love interesting plots. And from the first 5-minute get-go, get the girl, get the debt, and then rowing a boat towards the lighthouse. And then I spent like 10 minutes in the lighthouse just walking around, like looking at stuff, because I found it so, the graphics and the experience and being in the storm, it was so captivating.
Yeah, it was. It's really immersive in the lighthouse, and the lighting's really good.
Oh, it's insane!
Like it's so dark and moody, and I see why you spent so much time in there.
Because I was looking,
and there's so many little things you can see as well.
I didn't want to miss anything. I was trying to pick everything up, and I was and I was looking at the chair, and they were and there's all these different lines, and there's writing on the door, and there's all sorts of stuff, and then the whole going into the city and being baptized, and the first things that sort of hit me are the extreme sort of Christianity elements, the extreme sort of because it's set in the 1920s or 11s. I can't remember which. I think it's 20s. 20s?
Yeah, I think it's 20s.
So it's around that, but the heavy the racial viewpoints of the time, a lot of racism, a lot of which felt quite interesting actually in today's sort of climates going on, even though it's such an old game. I just straight away I was sort of hooked. But I will say I did get a bit bored in the first half.
Oh, really?
And my mind was sort of like, I really enjoy this and I really like the premise, but I felt like it was quite bog standard and quite sort of normal. And
Bradley, let him
then,
talk.
Bradley,
okay.
I got to the second half of the story. I played all through the first half. I'd say I was probably interested, but not like blown away, up until Chinatown, up until the first time she opens a proper tear. And
you step through.
From that point onwards, this game blew my mind. I went from being like, I thought it was very good, it was very fun, it was very interesting, but I wasn't
captivated by it.
But after that point, it just ups the ante, and oh my god, like I just what a game, what a crescendo.
So I'll go from there basically. So for me, obviously first time playing it as well, going back to the lighthouse, the opening of that game, you have no idea what's happening when it first starts, and I had no idea what to expect. But I'm going to go back one step further. When I loaded the game up and you go onto the home screen where you start a new game, and obviously you've got the city in the background and all the colors and everything, I was like, wow, this game is stunning, and I've not even started. And I thought maybe the menu's just
especially
stunning.
for an old game.
Exactly. And I was like, I don't really know. And I went into this, bear in mind, with no knowledge whatsoever about what on earth the game is about, what happens in the game, where the game's set. I had no idea. I didn't even know the time period. So I had no concept of this. So the game starts and you go to the lighthouse, and I got a real chilling vibe from that lighthouse as well. It's really dark and creepy,
wasn't it?
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time there too, just because I didn't want to miss anything, and I kind of was trying to figure out what on earth's going on. And when you then sit in the chair and then you get launched,
go up.
yeah, I was like, what is happening? I was like, because I didn't know what this. Bear in mind, I have no idea what happens in this game. I'm like, what's going on? Why the hell am I going upwards in a rocket? What happened? Yeah, and I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm doing. Yeah, and then you see these beautiful skyline and this city and everything.
Oh yeah, the sort of I can't think you call it in the background. Something they call it a box, don't they? You probably know, Bradley. Do you know? They call it a
sandbox.
No, there's a technical word for what you see in the background.
Oh right.
Skybox. I think they call it a skybox. Yes.
No, that's just like the thing you hit your head on when you go up on a map. The skybox.
Is it?
You know that stops you going from too high.
Well, whatever it's called, the background art that is it
was just captivating. And at this point still, I'm like, why the hell is there a city in the sky and what's going on? Yeah, what is happening?
Why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here? And from that moment on, see, I disagree with Chris in that respect, because from literally that there onwards, that game just so me, it takes a lot for a game to really draw me in, especially a game that has some kind of element of freedom of choice with open kind of moving around. And I know you have to follow a path, but there's quite a lot of people to interact with and things to go find and things like that. And do you know what? I was hooked from the very beginning, and I'll agree with Chris. From the moment the Chinatown scene happens and the first tear in that, the game definitely does up the ante from there, and from there to the end it doesn't stop.
No,
and I love that. It's a roller coaster. But even before that, even just to start the first, when you go to the fair and you buy the tickets and with the raffle and all that sort of thing, I felt as clueless as Booker feels. You don't know he doesn't even know what's happening. He doesn't know where he is, what's going on. And I felt like that, and I enjoyed every second of it, because I was like, I love the fact that I have no idea what I'm even doing. I have no idea where I am, what's going on. And I feel like the game's gameplay mechanics hold up for a game 7 years old.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's not. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's not revolutionary.
Oh, it's not without. It's not without faults. It is a shooter, but I mean, it does hold up.
For me, I think the gameplay was fun and quirky. Like I say, it's not the selling point of the game.
No, of course not. It's the story,
but it is serviceable, and I wouldn't say it's very good.
Yeah,
it's what it's not revolutionary, but at what it wants to achieve, it does really well. And the gunplay has a really fun dynamic with the almost power magical esque system that happens alongside it, right?
So obviously, like you say, the driving point here is though the storyline, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Hands
get
down.
the girl, clear the debt. That's all you really get told, pretty much for a big chunk of it. Find the girl, rescue the girl, clear your debt, whatever. Obviously, we're allowed to talk spoilers and stuff anyway because the game's 7 years old.
We're going to discuss this ending.
Yeah, so the game follows this story of you find this girl, you told you have to rescue her. Apparently, you believe you've been hired, right?
You've been hired to get this girl to clean your debt.
Yeah.
But you're never really told what this debt is or what's sort of going on.
No. And you build up, right? So I'm just going to come out and say it now that the end, by the time this game ends, and with the way that this game ends, which we'll come to in a second, I was actually pretty emotional. Like I spoke to Bradley straight afterwards.
It's so well acted.
It is so well acted. And do you know what?
Troy Baker.
I felt
awesome.
The great.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the girl is, but she's great as well.
Yeah. And do you know
She's
what?
amazing.
I did feel very emotional at the end of this game because I did feel a little bit like that feeling in your chest that you get when you know a game's that good, because it makes you feel that way. Because I was like, you come to build such a relationship with these two characters and the relationship they have, and it's a very love-hate relationship for a lot of it, and a very mixed emotion thing. And then when it all comes together at the end and you find out what's really happened,
you have that
the resolution moment. Yeah, the moment. The game, do you know what? I called Bradley and I was more lost for words than I am now, wasn't I? I didn't know what to say to you, because I was like, I'm just blown away. And Chris actually read like an overview of...
I had to try to... I thought I knew what was going... So actually, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to say spoilers. I'm about to mention some stuff about the ending. So
the game's 7 years old.
It is 7 years old, but it's such a good game that I would recommend you, if you haven't played it and you've got to this point, you can listen to the spoilers if you want, but I would recommend switching off.
Yeah, because
or skipping ahead,
because it does ruin
the whole thing. But I'm gonna go spoilers from now, so you've been warned.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in what I've been able to figure out, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm sure Bradley will know. This is basically, there's two parallel versions of the same person. And you play as the version of that person who refused to get baptized and went off, whereas the main villain of the story is the same character, but he got baptized.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you are.
But then Elizabeth is your daughter, but you gave her, after her mum died, to these interdimensional
beings,
people who come from the villain's universe, who took you gave them your daughter, and then she becomes the Elizabeth from the game, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the reason she has the powers is because you change your mind and she gets her finger chopped off.
Yeah.
In one of the portals.
When they take her,
And that's why she can control the portals, right?
Yeah, because right, so that's...
Mind blowing.
I mean, if you've not played it and you've listened to that...
You're going to be like, what
no, that's going to make
hell?
sense, right? But I promise you that...
They do it in such a way that it's a lot easier to understand.
Yeah, it is.
Because they take you through it.
And it's so built up to, even to the point where, like, there's stuff that's happening that hints towards... Because basically she says to you at one point, you've tried to rescue me before, and Songbird, who is her guardian, has killed you every time. And it all starts to make sense, because there's points in the story where there's these two interdimensional time agents, dimensional agents.
Time agents.
Are they actually
they're just scientists.
They're just scientists.
Yeah, they're scientists. They're the same person, but from parallel universe where one's a boy and one's a girl.
But they're also trying to stop Comstock's future, where New York City gets attacked, aren't they? That's why they've hired you. Because I believe they're meant to hire you, right?
Per se, they've hired you, even though technically, they're just there.
Then
they haven't hired you. They've just kind of set you on this path, and then they say the whole thing of he'll formulate his own memories.
And that's
and
why
thoughts.
they say things to you along all the long time of, oh, he didn't do this last time, or oh, he never rows the boat,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the hell are you talking about?
He never,
And
and then it
at
all
the end-
makes sense.
And then they're like, as you're doing stuff, they tally stuff down.
And you're wondering
Yeah.
why on earth they're tallying that, like they're tallying like this is the 14th time this has happened, and you're thinking like, what does that even mean?
There was one thing that I said to Jack Bradley before we started, where it even ties into the original Bioshocks really well, because she says a line to you when there's a bit where you see all the other realities.
Oh, that bridge moment, Bradley.
And we'll talk about it, but she says a line where there's always a man,
and there's always
a city, and there's always a girl.
Yeah.
And if you look at the original Bioshocks, even though I didn't play them, there is a man, there's an underwater city,
and there's a child,
and there's the little
girl.
girls who are protected by the big daddies.
Yeah.
So even though they're not connected really, in that loose
They are.
variation,
It's just another
the other
version.
Bioshocks games are another version.
And also he says in the game, doesn't he? Booker says, really, a city underwater. That's
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you go there in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Rapture.
He's like, what?
What's the line she says as well? She says something. The variables. Do you remember the line she says?
So I can't remember, but I know.
Do you remember,
exactly
Bradley,
what
when
you mean.
you're in the warehouse? She says something about something's always different, but the variables are always the same, and it always leads to the same outcome.
So this is kind of like basically the way the game ends is actually really sad, because he comes to terms. He finds out, obviously, he comes to this resolution of what's happened, and that he is both these the villain and the hero.
So
in the
he's
story,
the good guy, but
also the bad guy.
a different reality version of himself is the bad guy, right?
But and he also realizes that he gave her away.
So is he the bad guy?
Yeah,
is the kind of question.
Yeah.
Was he ever a good guy?
Yeah, because
and it's interesting because there's heavy Christianity symbolism and sort of words and stuff, and it's interesting how he isn't baptized and he's the hero of he tries to find redemption, whereas the man who's baptized and his sins are taken away, he then goes on to be the sinner.
Yeah. It's such a clever game, and that's the thing.
It's so well
could
written.
Talk about it for so long, but obviously we're not going to, because unless you played it, you would
You'll be like,
this.
what the hell?
Yeah, but basically the resolution that the game kind of comes to is very sad, because he realizes that no matter what you've done, no matter what choices you make, choices in the game that actually make no difference, and you kind of really I took time thinking
which
about
add to the kind
what
of aspect. No matter what you do to change it,
it's inevitable.
It will always
the same way.
I was at the start, I was generally thinking
about
so
each
long
choice.
about each choice. Like, you know, when you spare that dude or kill him, the general
from the war.
I was thinking about that choice for ages, and I was like, no, this has got to matter. I'm going to spare him. And then, it's like she said, the outcome's always the same.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what you do.
So basically, and obviously when it does end, he realizes the sad truth of the fact that he is both these people, and not just that, but no matter what he's done and how hard he's tried to rescue her, he still gave her away at the end of the day, and he
that
can
was
never,
emotional.
It was emotional, and it's so brilliantly acted, that last scene. And I'm not even going to say exactly that last scene, because I feel like everyone needs to experience it. But that very closing clip with the zooming out camera and where by the water and that, I was like, damn, that hit me in the feels, because it's just so well acted and so well shot, and it's that realization that he knows
for
he
something
can't
that's
change
so
it.
far-fetched, it's so believable.
It is so believable, yeah. And do you know what? I've actually got shivers now just even talking about it. But the story is just incredible, and anyone, and I would say, even if you hated the gameplay, just play it just to experience the story.
Just play it on easy, just blast through it.
And
it feels like a incredibly well-written movie story.
I mean, imagine if they made it as a movie. Like, I feel like I actually feel like they would struggle to make it as well.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
But it would be.
It's because of the interaction between Elizabeth and Booker.
Yeah.
Like I like the game so much more when she's involved.
Yeah.
Because of that interaction.
It almost slows down in the scenes where you're by yourself.
Yeah.
And she just flicks you a coin, and it's just these little things.
So obviously we could talk about it forever, but it is an A-class game. And do you know what, Bradley? It's actually up there in. It's got to have actually gone on my list of probably my top 10 games ever, because I honestly loved it so much. But and it gets me excited because I then heard after I finished it that they're making another one.
But it's like I say, for someone who was I loved it. And then after halfway through the story, then was for me when I was like, wow, this is up there in some of the. Not so much gameplay, but for story, like wow. And I liked, because I generally like stories where I influence how it happens.
Mhm.
But I felt like it was a slap in the face when it.
You realise you can't.
But I
Yeah.
liked that.
Because you feel like you've kind of been played.
So
don't
that's
you? 'Cause,
that's actually
you've
one of
been-
the big things, is that you as a player
feel like
are
you're
part of the story, because the whole idea is that when you play the game, you will try and resolve
Influence the
the whole
outcome.
thing and influence it, but you as a player have no
no
control.
choice. And,
Yeah.
and
And the
that's
only way to stop the repetition of it happening over and over again is by stop playing. So it actually is super meta about how it's a whole, this will happen again and again and again, because
Until
as you
you
play
break the
through
loop.
it. So I've played through it like 4 or 5 times, and every time it's been the same, because I keep going back and I keep doing it. So it's really meta, and I love that idea as well.
it does. It's a real
Of being drawn into it as a person,
Yeah.
of me playing it is affecting it, which is so weird to think about, and it's like one of the few times I've ever seen a game do something
exactly. And do you know what?
Mm.
Even talking about it now, it's making me want to play it again, just because I enjoy
Yeah,
it so much.
I think I
Yeah.
will. And
And-
like I say, I am going to play the god awful
DLCs.
add-ons that Bradley told
Some
me not
people
to
will,
play.
some people will like them. I'll go on record and say I'm not a fan. I think they're well made. They follow the same gameplay, the same graphics, so they look really good. But I don't think story wise
So
they.
me and Bradley had a quick chat about why he didn't like them. I said, what is it about them you don't like? And he said that he kind of feels like after everything you go through in the main game, playing the DLCs kind of makes that not irrelevant, but kind of just takes away from the experience
The
of the main
ending,
game.
and how you're
It just
meant
has such an encapsulating ending, and like I said, the whole point of
is
playing
breaking the
through,
loop,
is
isn't
to
it?
break the loop.
Yeah,
stop.
exactly. And
So then
I don't
go
know.
on. But either way, I think before we move on to our
The last thing I
quiz,
quickly want to say is just
go on.
the visuals from the land where you see all the other lighthouse and all the other realities,
Oh,
and
that scene,
also the sequence where
The
you see
bridge.
Old Elizabeth and Columbia, the city, is attacking New York City.
Yeah.
And both those sequences, I was like, wow, this is an old
Visually
game.
effects,
But the visuals in this game
I'll move you like.
are insane.
So so that for
But
me,
yeah,
So for me, that scene more not the Columbia and attacking New York thing, but the bridge sequence where all the different realities of you are running in different directions from different lighthouses.
and then Brooke of the Wit's like, no one tells me what to do,
Yeah.
and then she's like, but you've already done it.
Oh,
No.
it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But so the one last thing I want to go through just before we move on is we had a really interesting conversation, which we actually don't know the answers to 100% yet. But name your 2 favorite guns on the playthrough, because you get 2 guns and you get 2 powers equipped at a time. Name your 2 favorite guns in the game that you played most of your playthrough with, and your 2 favorite abilities.
Okay, so I'll go first. I had a sniper rifle as my primary, and
Nice.
then as the secondary, I had the carbine, and I felt
Okay.
that suited me for all combat environments. And then for my abilities, I had the grenade. I can't think what it was called. And then I also had the fly ability where you could throw them up in the air.
Fucking Bronco, and the other one's called the. Oh God, what is that fire one?
Devil's Kiss.
Devil's Kiss.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And I think I pretty much used that. The only time I think I ran out of ammo in the carbine a couple of times, and I picked up the hand cannon.
Yeah.
I love the hand cannon.
Yeah, so I'll go next. So the carbine, I didn't really like the sniper rifle, but I did for the damage, but I just didn't really want to use it just because of the aim down sights and stuff. So the carbine, because I felt it was really all rounded, was my number one weapon. Carbine was pretty much the whole game I had it, unless I ran out of ammo. And strangely enough, which is very unlike me as well, just because I thought, which the use of that with the power I use, mine was the shotgun. I had the shotgun the whole way through that game, right?
Yeah,
Even to the
it was
very
very
end.
satisfying.
And exactly, and the reason for it, which is one thing we also have in common, my powers. Bucking Bronco was my primary all the time because I loved the gameplay mechanic of throwing them in the air and then just chain shooting them with the shotgun.
Yeah.
Because you could get an outfit equipment which basically electrocuted nearby enemies. So if you shot one, it would electrocute and chain all of them in the
that's
air.
cool.
And I was like, so I used that, and my secondary ability was the shock jockey. I love the shock jockey thing just because it's just standard. It's a standard
Electricity, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, standard ability, but it was
Feel like Emperor Palpatine.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so that was my playthrough: shotgun, carbine, and pretty much just the Bucking Bronco though, because I love that so much. Bradley?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really like OCD, so I don't use the like. This is the first time ever that I've actually started to use the vigors, which sounds insane
He plays
because
the
it's
whole
such
game
a
without using
huge
them.
part. I never used to use them
I know.
at all. I'm just too like, if I use the bar, I have to refill it then, and if
Every
there's
time
no
there was a turret, I
immediate
used
salts,
that thing that let me control them.
Yeah, possession. Yeah.
yeah, see, I just blew it up. I just shot it, and it was one of those things that I got like basically to the end of the game, and I was like, right, I need to start using them because I played through this and I love the vigors. I love the animation. I think they look amazing, and I was like, I need to just use them and stop worrying about the salts. So I started using them right towards the end, and being towards the end, my two powers were actually return to sender and
Cool.
and shock jockey. Funny enough.
What did
Shock
Return to
jockey.
That's
Sender
the one
do
where
again?
you shield it and send it back.
Oh,
It's the
so,
red
okay.
belt
yeah,
spot.
Got you.
But I realized how that's actually what made me start using the vigors, is because I was
don't think
playing
I used
on
that much.
because I was playing on the hardest difficulty. I was running out of
Course you
ammo
were.
quite a lot. Or yeah, I don't know why I said that. I was running out of ammo quite a lot.
And you didn't use vigors.
Yeah, I know, that's the stupid.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So I was using my gun so heavily, so I was using the sniper rifle and the hand cannon as much as possible,
Oh,
purely
okay.
for the damage output. Those two have such a high damage output, and I would go for headshots, obviously. So it was a case of like basically both of them were an insta kill to the head. So I was trying to save ammo and get this huge damage output, and then I was running out of so much ammo that I was like, why don't I just upgrade return to sender? Because once you upgrade it, you can
ammo. It takes in ammo, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can just like eat the ammo. So I was just eating ammo, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much easier. And then I was like,
So
I
he
waited till like the last airship to start doing that.
It's insane.
I love how you didn't even use it for its primary function. You used it just to save,
Just to get
give
more
yourself
ammo,
more bullets,
to not use vigors.
not to shield. But yeah, no,
But-
yeah,
yeah.
very different.
Should we say our last thoughts on the game then?
Yeah, I'd say overall, I am so pleasantly surprised by it, and
I'm glad.
I would recommend it to anybody who likes any kind of story-driven game. Just it's up there with one of my favorites.
That's what I say. If you're a fan of story-driven games, I think you owe it to yourself to give this one a go. And like I said, stick with it because it is really interesting from the get-go, but
it definitely picks
does ramp up as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
Bradley's
don't
a
be.
veteran.
Yeah, it gets hard. Just like I would say, just don't be too worried about it being an FPS if you're a bit turned off with like story-driven FPSs, because they're from like what I'm thinking of. There's just not that many like amazing story-driven FPSs.
No.
But I'd say don't be turned off by that at all. No. Like I said, if you hate FPSs and they're really not your thing, just go on easy. Just use the vigors, because like unlike me, because they're really fun, and that's why I probably saved them all the time.
They are OP, yeah.
They are. There's some really OP vigors. I mean, that's why I started using shock jockey as well, because things like the crow guys can just get stunned out. So you can just stun lock them. So you just spam the shock jockey while you're shooting them, and you can just kill them really easily. So yeah, I would just recommend playing on easy, blasting through the game, using the vigors as much as possible. There will be enough salts. Don't listen to me. There's always enough salts.
There's more.
Don't listen to my OCD brain. There is salts.
Elizabeth gives you salts the second if you can't find any.
Because I was also relying on her to give ammo.
I never ran out once in the game. So
I was like relying on her to give ammo as well, and she'll only give things every now and then.
What you need, right? Didn't she?
Yeah. So I was relying on her to be like ammo. So that's the other reason I wasn't using that many salts. But yeah, so just have fun with the game. Don't worry. But yeah, so I'm really glad that we did that as the Golden Oldie. It's been fun, and I'm really, really glad that you both enjoy it.
No, honestly, I wasn't really particularly interested in it.
Neither was I.
But I'm so glad you suggested it, because it's such a hidden little gem.
It is a hidden gem.
Exactly. So being a hidden little gem and kind of wanting to tie it all off, it is my quiz this week for a delve into fandom. And of course, I was like, let's give it a proper send off. So I thought I would do a Bioshock Infinite quiz. Now, I haven't made it very... I came up with all the questions myself, and I haven't made it very hard. The first two should be almost a guarantee.
Okay. I mean, it's not like I finished it today or anything, is it?
Right, yeah, so, and then the last three should be relatively easy as well. I just wanted to kind of see if you were, paying a little bit of attention.
Right, let's crack on. Let's do it.
question 1 for the Bioshock Infinite quiz. What letters are marked on the hand of Booker DeWitt? And I've done these options as 1, 2, and 3 because they're letters.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, you could probably get most of these without multiple choice. Do
I
you want multiple choice?
I want the multiple choice.
Yeah. No, I want it. So I think I know what it is,
so do
but
I think I know.
I want the multiple choice.
Go. What are the choices?
Is it 1 BD, 2 ZC, or 3 AD?
AD. C.
I thought it was BD. I thought it was BD. Isn't it?
AD or BD? I'm gonna go
BD.
I'm gonna go
I'm pretty sure it's
AD.
BD.
So Chris, you're saying BD?
Yeah.
Jack, you're saying AD.
I am.
It is AD.
No.
So I threw these ones, like both of these ones in there because I was like, okay, what can I do to throw them off?
The Bible, that's why.
Yeah.
So AD is.
I'm so annoyed because literally, there's a sequence where they even say he put it on himself as penance.
Yeah. For Anna DeWitt.
Yeah.
Which is why it's AD. But I also threw in BD for Booker DeWitt and ZC for Zachary Comstock in case either one of those threw you off, which BD apparently did throw you off.
Yeah.
So
I knew it had
from Star Wars BD-8.
Question 2.
I mean, I knew there was a
following
B
on
in
from
there.
You're gone.
You knew there was a B in there?
Yeah.
Or a D in there?
One of them. Leave me alone, Bradley.
Anyway, question 2. What sequence of notes can control Songbird? Is it A, E, C, F, G, B, C, A, G, E, C, A, D, A, D?
It's not C, not the last one. What was the first two?
E, C, F, G, C, A, G, E, and A, D, A, D.
It's one of the first two, I think. I don't know which. Well, you played it more recently than me. You got no clue, have you? Oh no! Just give me the first.
All I just remember is
give me the first two.
Him dying in the water,
sad.
and then her like.
What was it? Go on, give me the first two. I don't want the last one. Just the first two.
E, C, F, G, C, A, G, E.
I think it's the second one. C, A, G. Oh, I can hear the tune almost, but I don't know music notes enough.
Bradley, you said these first two would be easy.
I'm gonna go. They should be. You're gonna kick yourself.
I can hear it, but I'm gonna go for the second one just because I'm just taking a guess. I'm gonna go second one, but I feel like I'm gonna be annoying.
Chris, what are you going for?
I will also go for the second one, I guess.
You are both correct.
Yes. Good.
I'm so surprised it was this difficult for you when you actually read the word C-A-G-E.
Cage.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I said you would have kicked yourself if you didn't get it.
Yeah, I would have kicked myself.
The whole point of the note songbirds was it spelled cage. Because she says it.
She spells it.
Yeah, she makes a big deal of it being
cage, and she says,
cage,
"Oh my god, it's not thingy, it's a notes." Yeah. Oh
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, at least we got one
slightly tougher. Yeah, but okay.
I mean, Bradley, you played it 5 times. We've only played it once.
I'm sorry. Like in my head, I'm like, well, because you've just played it. I was like, these must be really easy, especially because you've just played the end. She literally just said it.
Yeah, I know, but I clearly wasn't paying enough attention.
This is why I was quizzing you on it. Okay, question number 3.
I told you.
What number is on the ball in which Booker picks at the raffle?
Go on.
A, 73.
Yeah.
B, 77.
Yeah.
Or C, 74.
Sam again, Bradley?
73.
A,
73. Or 77.
B, 77. C, 74.
I want to say 77, but now I'm thinking it's don't pick number.
So it's 73, 74, and 77?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I think it's 74. For some reason, it's in my brain. It might be wrong, but...
If I get it wrong, I'll be really annoyed because I was thinking about this earlier. I'm going to say 77.
And Chris?
He said 74, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Go on.
You sure, Chris? Yeah, 74?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but yeah, go on.
It is, in fact, 77.
Yes.
And the weirdest thing is, Chris, because I've made all these myself, I wrote, like, I typed 74 out, and I can imagine the ball with the number
Yes.
74.
Yeah,
So
in
can
my
I.
Which
brain.
is why I
can
picked that
visualise
I
it.
think it's
number.
the way that they do the 7. I think the
Yeah.
number 7 it's got the cross through it, hasn't it? It's the like all the way through it, like a number 4 is.
Yeah,
But
I mean, this isn't going so well, Bradley.
I've got 3.
I'm
for
sorry.
3.
I mean,
I'm
the
not gonna
first
get
two
the last
were quite easy when you think
Yeah,
about
Cage.
it.
That one's really annoyed me. If
And
I got that-
AD is said a lot in the game.
Yeah,
so,
Anna, because
So I did the 2 easy ones, but we are on to the harder ones now. So following on from that, still in the harder section, which of these was not a founding father of Colombia?
Well, okay. I
Was it-
listened to all of these audio logs, and I did all the horror.
Oh, you should definitely get this.
So-
Was it A, Abraham Lincoln,
Okay.
B, Thomas Jefferson, or C, Benjamin Franklin? Which of these was not a founding father of Colombia?
Oh, you got me.
Abraham Lincoln, Thomas
Well,
Jefferson, or Benjamin Franklin?
Unless I guess it, I'm not going 5 for 5.
I was trying to think because they have statues and different memorials all throughout
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
game. I'm trying
Yeah.
to remember who I saw and who I didn't see.
Abraham Lincoln,
Yeah.
Thomas
Thomas
Jefferson,
Jefferson
or Benjamin Franklin?
I'm going to trust Chris's judgment on it.
I
because
don't think you should.
No, I know, but I've got no. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember who I saw.
Plus, I didn't listen to all the audio logs.
No. This, I mean, I don't always.
I think
listen to the
I
audio.
missed a lot of them. I know I did, but I tried to pick up as many as I could.
I pick them up and then.
I
kind of
really
zone out.
enjoyed the weird telescope thing that you look in.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed all of those in the game.
Right, go on, Chris.
So who is it again? It's Franklin, Abraham,
yeah.
and
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln. Which of these was not
really
a
annoying.
founding father?
I
I love the tension.
know, because I wanted to get them all right.
in my brain for some reason I'm between Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna go Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
I will
Jack?
also go Abraham Lincoln just because I'm hoping Chris has got it right.
You are both
Oh no.
correct.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes, Chris. I'm
And
so thankful for that.
Because I thought
The-
Lincoln's too far,
Yeah.
like to be a founding father, because he's later than those two guys, isn't he?
it wasn't that.
Okay.
The reason is actually politically. Abraham Lincoln was the only one of the 4 in total that was very against slavery.
Yeah, and that's a cornerstone of Colombia. isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was something
White supremacy.
So Colombia took the founding fathers but omitted Lincoln, considering that he was
But yeah, because he
such
fought
an
civil war
anti-racist.
for.
Yeah.
for humans.
So it makes complete sense law-wise why he wouldn't be there,
Yeah.
where a lot of people didn't quite understand, and because I remember looking it up to make sure, and loads of people were like, "Why is he not there?" And then I was like, "Oh, that makes complete sense."
I'm quite proud of that. one, yeah.
Depending on how hard this last question is, I'm going 5 for 5.
It should be very hard. It depends. This is a very.
Unless it's a
If
guess.
you were observant,
Go on.
how observant were you?
Go on.
So, what film was shown playing in a French cinema in the first tear we ever see Elizabeth create?
Oh God.
Sake, what? Go on.
So, I don't know whether you remember, but when we're looking
I
at
swear,
Elizabeth,
just quickly though, wasn't there like rock music at one point?
Um,
On one of the stages.
I think in one of
in one
them,
of the
yeah,
in
but
one
the
of the
first tear
tears
we ever
there's
see.
in one of the tears there's a music shop and you can hear music playing. It's like old pop music.
Yeah, one was
rock
like
and
a song
swing.
from like Vietnam, and I was
Oh,
like,
really?
damn, and I was really enjoying it.
Go on. What are the choices?
So the choices are
Mhm.
Star Wars Episode 6: Return of the Jedi,
Okay.
Back to the Future,
Uh-huh.
or The Sound of Music. So, which film
Yeah.
was shown playing in a French cinema in the first tear we see Elizabeth create?
I'm just gonna stab in the dark here. I'm gonna go because I vaguely remember it, but I wasn't paying enough attention to that. I'm gonna go for the I want to say Back to the Future or Sound of Music. I'm gonna go Sound of Music.
Okay, Chris, what are you going for?
See, here's the thing. I don't remember this part, but Sound of Music to me feels very fitting, but also Back to the Future
relevant.
because of the themes.
Story. Yeah.
I don't know. I am also going to go with Sound of Music.
Please.
Okay. You will both be wrong, unfortunately.
Oh no!
What was it? Was it Back to the
But
Future?
the title was in French, but you would have been able to work out what it is.
Yeah.
It was Star Wars Episode 6.
Oh, no way.
Star Wars.
And the title actually, which I would have been very impressed if you'd got, translated to Revenge of the Jedi, which was the
original
working
title, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was actually like a subtle nod at that. But yeah, it was actually Star Wars Episode 6 was playing on a French cinema. So
Wow.
which is actually, I thought of this question because I actually pointed it out to Alexa. I said, that's not because I never knew that Revenge of the Jedi was its working
Oh,
title.
did you not?
No, so I said to it, I was like,
where,
that doesn't translate to return.
That's where Revenge of the Sith eventually got its name.
But yeah, and then I thought what films would be perfect to throw them off, and it was Back to the Future and The Sound of
I
Music.
really didn't think it'd be them two.
Yeah, I thought they were so relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's why I picked him. I was like, that's got to throw them. They've got to pick those.
Well, I think
unfortunately.
I think I got two, and I
I
think
got
Jack
four.
got 4.
So you
So
were very
disappointed.
observant.
I'm actually really upset considering I
disappointed with that
literally
last one.
picked up all the Vox phones
And I didn't.
that I could find and looked through
Um,
all the little and to be fair, that was a
really
part of the
cool
game
little
we didn't
thing.
talk about that
Yeah,
I really enjoyed.
I did as well.
Mhm.
I didn't do them all, but I did look for a fair amount. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was just such a great game. But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, should we do a quick closing thoughts?
Ooh,
Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. Who? Has anyone got one?
Yeah, just at the end of Bioshock Infinite, I sat in the corner of my room and contemplated the universe.
Same.
Yeah, same. That's all three of us.
And that's what I'm going to leave you with this week.
So anyway, yeah, that's all from us this week, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
See you later.
See you next week.